Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Dr. Laura Griffith Garland here joining us, and so excited to have her as a shaman, as a Reiki master, as a healer, as a friend. Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing well today. And
Great.
that just looks so summery and cute what you're wearing today.
I grabbed it last minute. I'm like, yeah, might as well go for it orange, right? Who wears orange? But I'm feeling happy today. So, yeah. And what about yourself? How's
How
everything?
weird that it's orange, because the cards that we came up with
There's
today
no such thing as coincidence. We know that, right?
are orange, and all three of them, which when that comes up usually somehow really does mean that they're very integrated. So whoever made the deck really worked on that sort of thing. And it's a little heavy today. I'm sorry, but
okay.
it's what they came up with. So, you know, they want me to talk about it, I'll talk about it.
Okay.
So it's guilt, denial, and forgiveness. And yeah, those three things get really intertwined into just a complete morass of just nastiness, and very corrosive. They're very corrosive. It really kind of interesting. On Monday, I was listening to Vishen Lakhiani from Mind Valley. He was doing a discussion, having us go deeper into a particular topic, and he had 3 questions for us. And the first question was, who do you blame for something going badly or poorly in your life? And when I pulled these cards, I was like, oh, holy cow, that question just really gets to the heart of what these cards are trying to have us think about.
Yeah.
And so, as an illustration, I'm going to go pretty personal with this today,
Okay.
so that we can see, you know, how this really works.
Okay.
When I heard this question on Monday, I sat there. He gave us 5 minutes to mull this over and write some stuff down. And I sat there and I realized that I blamed my husband for my business disintegrating during COVID. Not an easy thing to realize. I dropped my business in March of 2020, and became my husband's office manager and overall anything that wasn't just his counseling. And at first, I literally had no time to do anything with my business, really, because I was learning how to process insurance.
Yeah.
Any of you out there who do that, you are so brave, because let me tell you, sometimes it's just insane. But it wasn't just that. It was like the virtual sessions and how to deal with that. And COVID was just overwhelming. So I kind of dropped everything.
Yeah.
I was doing, at the time, I started doing daily Facebook videos, because, as you'll recall, the information was so scattered and difficult to decipher and figure out what the heck we were supposed to be doing. So I was trying to do, 2 to 3 minute videos, trying to help people get through. But then I dropped that too. So on Monday, I looked at this and I go, oh my God, I blame my husband. I never have said it out loud. I've never done anything, but I'm like, holy cow. But until Monday, literally, I was in denial. So remember, our cards are guilt, denial, and forgiveness. So I was in denial about the fact that I had dropped the videos, that I was in overwhelm, cut myself a little slack, right? And then I was getting a little crispy. only having seen my husband and grocery store clerks for months and months on end.
Mm-hmm.
But I also gave up.
Oh.
I didn't work on my website or make more videos or do pretty much any of the things that you really should do, if you want to get your business doing something.
Yeah.
Especially in the odd environment we were in, figuring out how to handle that.
Yeah.
And with more of the questions that Vision asked us on Monday, I realized that the blaming of my husband came about because I felt guilty over my own lack of action.
Yeah.
I felt guilty. In various times, it was a nasty spiral in my head. I've needed to pull my head out of my behind.
Mm-hmm.
And stop blaming others and the situation for how I felt and how I acted. The guilt really did feel crushing at some points, but it was all buried.
Yeah.
And hidden, and I was in denial. Mm-hmm. So I had no idea what was crushing me.
Yeah.
And that meant I had no clue what to do.
Mm-hmm.
But the forgiveness I needed to work on is actually forgiving myself for the blame. Now, I never ever said it out loud, and I never did anything passive aggressive or anything, like we do. Didn't do that, but still in my head. So I have to forgive myself for the blame and the denial and the guilt and the inaction. Because the realization was, in order to move forward, I have to let this go. It's the big energetic thing that's blocking me. Because you can't move forward, you can't do stuff if you're in denial.
Yep.
What the problem is.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we do, isn't it? We blame others because we feel guilty about something, real or perceived. And we can be so in denial of our own guilty feelings. And that's sometimes when we get really passive aggressive, or we lash out, or withdraw. It depends on your personality, which one you do, or what's happening at the time, whether you're which way you're going to go with that. And then because of the denial, it's pretty much impossible to fix something if you don't know what it is consciously. So you've got to get out of the denial stage. And really the only way through that, once you get out, is through the forgiveness. That's the only way forward, because that's the only way to let this energy go. And the person we usually have to forgive when we've done this sort of thing is ourselves.
Yep.
Now, if you've at some point lashed out and did a whole back and forth, and people said stuff, then yeah, you're gonna have to work together on that. But luckily I managed not to have done that. But I don't know about you, but forgiving myself is harder than forgiving others. Have you run into that?
Oh yeah. The guilt, the pain, yeah, of course.
Yeah. I can forgive other people's stuff really easy. Forgiving myself for screwing up is so much harder. It just really is. But luckily, there's actually a whole Hawaiian prayer or practice out there that is actually really geared toward kind of this exact sort of thing, this forgiveness. And when you do it towards yourself and really, really mean it, it can be transformative. Actually, did this on Tuesday. And that's what allowed me to actually write this for this. It's just 4 phrases, and you do it by, you first think about whatever the person and or situation is, so that that's in your mind. And then you say the 4 phrases with your heart completely behind it. And it's really easy. Here are the 4 phrases. So anybody listening out there can do this. I'm sorry. Please forgive me.
Mm-hmm.
I thank you. I love you. That's it. And if you want to look it up online, it's called Ho'oponopono. I'll say that again. Ho'oponopono. Hard to say, weird to spell, but completely transformative.
Yeah.
And when you direct this toward ourselves, there's an I, a me, and a you in the prayer, and they're all then all about you. So yes, in this instance, this is all about you.
Yeah.
And again, the 4 phrases: I'm sorry, please forgive me, I thank you, I love you. Now, if you really want to do a metamorphosis with this, you do this with yourself in a mirror, looking right into your own eyes.
Okay.
I can tell you, it can be super intense. I've worked with this with clients. Like, I have a mirror that they do and they hold, and probably should make sure your tissue box is close by. Because it can be intense. It can be intense. And the key is to keep saying that, the 4 phrases, until you can say that last one, I love you,
Mm-hmm.
and actually mean it.
Yeah.
And it's, yeah, it can be really tough, but it can be such an energetic release, such a way to break up blockage, move things forward. So again, phrases: I'm sorry, please forgive me, I thank you, I love you. Now, there's a whole reason behind all of those, right? I'm sorry, very obvious. Please forgive me, very obvious. I thank you is there because every one of any event where we have to do this is a learning.
Yeah.
Right? We're learning something about ourselves. Where maybe it's all the way to a soul lesson. I don't know, it could be really intense. But there's a learning there. So even when someone has done something really pretty horrendous, there's still a learning there. The learning may be how strong you are.
Yeah.
If it's been something really bad, the learning may be how strong you are. That may be what the learning is. If you did it to yourself,
Oh yeah,
the learning may be not to do that again. Do
that'd
not
be wise. Yep. Yep. Uh-huh.
Don't repeat that. But that's why we say I thank you, because there's something in there that you're learning. And like I said, it may be how strong you are, how resilient you are, how amazing you are to have worked through something. Or it could be as simple as, don't repeat that.
So true, right?
So,
Don't.
yeah, just don't.
Yeah.
um, this can also be one of the fastest ways and best ways to heal a disagreement. Like, saying those 4 phrases in the middle of an argument will stop it cold. I mean, seriously, think about if you're in the middle of a heated argument with someone and you manage to stop yourself and say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I thank you, I love you. The other person is just going to be like,
What? Not a
they
bad
might
way to.
yeah, they might imitate a guppy.
No.
Or a halibut, whatever your favorite fish is.
Yeah.
And then if they just stand there still, or they try to start something,
Wow.
try to start continuing, you just say the 4 phrases again. And it's amazing. I have managed to do this with my husband on occasion, and he's managed to do it with me on occasion. We don't argue much. We never have. But, we've been together for, what year is this? 23 years.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, technically 24. We've been married 23.
Oh, wow.
Or we will be in a couple of weeks. And so, that's a long time.
Mhm.
And we're both really strong people, strong-willed people. And so we've had arguments. And during COVID was no different. I mean, we were literally together 24/7 for a year and a half.
Wow. Yeah.
Something like that. I think we came into the office briefly at various times when there were dips and stuff, but otherwise it was just the two of us. And we have very few arguments. But I do remember one where I managed to say these phrases and it just stopped everything cold during COVID. And I remember one where he managed to say them and it just stopped it. And we just looked at each other and like, what the heck are we doing? And because it was always over something dumb. And so we got, this, it's an absolutely amazing thing. If you have a friendship or a family member, and you want to repair that relationship that's been broken, calling them up and saying these 4 phrases can really transform things. Very seriously. You can have that friendship back.
Yeah.
Really fast. Really fast. Terrible English there, but oh well. We do this. It's a human thing where when we're feeling pain and guilt, we'll just bury it. We'll bury why we're feeling guilty and instead blame someone else. It's a defense mechanism. It's very human. And we're likely to bury that sucker really deep in denial when we do this, and then blame that other person. And the important thing is when you realize that you have done this pattern, is to forgive ourselves.
Yeah.
Really, really, really important. The emotions associated with guilt and denial, I call them corrosive for a reason. It has been shown that people who are continually in these type of emotions tend to develop chronic diseases.
Yeah.
We are a mind, body, spirit, integrated, holistic system in our whole being. We're not this mechanical system where the mind is here and the body is there and spirit doesn't exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
That model of human interaction, human medicine, is being found to be more and more not helpful.
Yeah.
So when we are in these really corrosive emotions, they produce a particular biochemistry.
Mm-hmm.
It does. It produces a particular biochemistry, and that biochemistry turns out to not be so good for various systems within the body. And each person is kind of different.
Mm-hmm.
If you smoke and you have these type of corrosive emotions, are you more likely to get lung cancer than if you're really super happy?
Yeah.
Yeah. But maybe it's not your lungs that's a problem. Maybe you're a guy and it's your prostate. Maybe you're a woman and it's your ovaries or your uterus or something that's an issue, or maybe it's breast tissue. Um, it it may be instead something like developing severe insulin resistance and ending up as a type 2 diabetic. Um, these emotions cause inflammation in your system. It's
Yeah.
what they do. They cause inflammation. And now, I don't know whether you've heard, but Alzheimer's is being called type 3 diabetes
Mm-hmm.
or inflammation of the brain. So it's a type of, they've now decided that the adult type of diabetes, not the one where you're born with the issue, but it sets on afterwards, which now in some cases is setting on really young kids. So calling it adult is not so good. They call it type 2. But that is an inflammation. It's an inflammation problem.
Mm-hmm.
Now they have realized that Alzheimer's is an inflammation problem. So if you have the genetics
Yeah.
that predispose you to whatever, this type of inflammation can lead to that sort of chronic disease. So that's why I want to work with people to get rid of this. We don't want you sick. You don't want to be sick. No one wants to be sick. And as so many doctors will tell you now, if you can shift your biochemistry for these chronic diseases, you can get rid of them.
Yeah.
Right? They haven't shown the improvement yet on Alzheimer's, but they're starting to. So, but if you have a genetic predisposition to that, which it does run in my family, so I worry about this. My mom, my grandma, my uncle, all passed due to complications from Alzheimer's. Having corrosive inflammation due to my own mental processes,
Mm-hmm.
not where we want to be. So uncovering and healing these types of situations, it's what I really want to work with my clients, so that either if they have something already, we can regress the disease, or keep it from occurring, so that you can be 80 and be running up and down mountains.
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
People do it. My dad was still working until he was 85. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was working until he was 85. And he would have continued working for a while, but my mom got really ill. And so, let's work on this. This is what I want people to do. I want them to find the problem, undo the blockage, and really work on this. And as you can tell, I literally know what they're talking about, because I worked through this for myself. It's not when I say, oh yeah, I know what you're feeling. No, I really do. I know what you're feeling. So I think that this is something that we as a culture really can work on,
Yeah.
is cleaning up the guilt and the denial, and using forgiveness techniques like Ho'oponopono to really release this for ourselves, because it's gonna heal the relationship with yourself, because that's really important. It's really important. So that's what I got today. I know it was heavy,
Okay.
but they really did want me to just really talk about this, because I think it's really dragging a lot of people down.
Yeah.
As always, when this comes up, it's usually something in my life, but it's also like 2 or 3 clients have also done something with this in like the last 2 weeks. And I have had 2 clients that I've worked right with this in the last 2 weeks. So it's out there, and let's get it cleaned up. We'll all be happier. Happier's better.
It's the best way to be, for sure. Absolutely, it is.
Yes.
And if we want to reach out to you, please tell us how we could do so.
Sure. You can call 843-259-8349, or you can email drlaura.coach. So that's drlaura.coach@gmail.com.
And am I going to see you this weekend?
Yes. Yes.
So looking forward to it. We're going to meet in person. We're going to do our live show together, and it's going to be awesome. So can't wait to welcome you to New York. Thank you so much.
Thank
Really,
you.
we appreciate it. Have a great day. And to all of our listeners, thank you. We appreciate you. Stay tuned. More of the show is on the way.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.